This afternoon, Donald Trump is in many ways more alone than he's been at any point in his presidency. Barely 2 hours ago, the Senate voted to officially rebuke a cornerstone of Trump's platform, his national emergency declaration aimed at building a border wall using money Congress had previously denied him. That's thanks to members of his own party. 12 Republicans in all voting against the president on this, leading to a final tally of 59 to 41. The resolution will now go to Trump's desk, and he's not being coy about his plans. On Twitter, writing, quote, veto. Everyone's back. Alexi?
Yes, a great tweet. Veto, not veto. I think this is a stunning rebuke to the president, though, and it sort of reflects this turmoil that is building, or so it seems, within the Republican Party right now under President Trump. I mean, the fact that they being Senator Mike Lee, thought that they could come up with an alternative plan and sort of convince the president to compromise, and then he ultimately said, I will not support whatever alternative resolution you're coming up with, and I will veto this resolution that you were all voting on. It's sort of surprising to me that they thought they could still convince this president who has no interest in negotiating or legislating in a sort of collaborative way to do this suddenly. And, you know, this whole national emergency thing is reflective of the same pattern of behavior we've seen from him since day one, where he loves using this sort of unilateral executive authority afforded to him by being the president of the United States, whether that's legislating via executive order, which he signed however many he did in the first year alone, or governing via tweet, or the pardon power and the way that he dangles that with people, and now this national emergency. It's not surprising to me that he's not backing down, but I think it is a little surprising how many Republican senators are now breaking from him.
It also, you know, you've been really profound on this topic, and I want to hear your thoughts.
Thank you, Nicole.
No, you have, because I think we blur in obliteration of norms with news like weather and sports. I mean, it is really seriously the most damage being done to the country under Donald Trump.
Yes, and I take some solace in it because I think we're never going to get Republicans to repudiate Trump as a person and as an individual. But they're legislators, and it heartens me when I hear them talking about Article 1 branch versus Article 2 branch, right?
Because, that's why I love you.
Because that animates them. So even, you know, Mike Lee can talk about the encroaching imperial presidency on the Congress in the Article 1 branch. So that is where they will start to cleave away from Trump based on these constitutional issues rather than based on his personality, and that's what we saw today.
It also shows the limits of sort of his political powers. I mean, they're down with Trumpism, they're down with his ridiculous wall, but they draw the line somewhere, you know, on the other side of the wall, but beyond blowing up the Constitution as it was written to leave Congress powers of appropriation.
Well, and thank goodness, because I think everyone was waiting around wondering when the GOP was going to demonstrate political courage. That animates most, if not a large portion, of your own observations. I don't know, would you call yourself a lapsed Republican?
Non-practicing.
A non-practicing Republican. You know, when was the party going to stand up for good conservative principles or principles of good government that transcend ideology and partisan politics? And this is a very clear moment. The president is trying to reach into the Congress and steal the powers of the purse in order to get a vanity project built so he can campaign on it. And it's not good for the country, it's not good for his party, it's not good for immigration, but he's full steam ahead on it. And I think it's good that the Republicans finally stood up and said no.
But is it too little too late, Alexi? I mean, they said no. Like the vote to release the Mueller report, it's largely symbolic. They know he's going to veto it. It's just a statement, and it seems to me that 2 years in is a little late to be making statements. They knew this is what they were getting. He ran as an authoritarian who didn't think Putin was all that bad.
I agree that it is a little late. I guess I will take a little more optimistic view and say better late than never, especially when they feel, as you just mentioned, that the president is encroaching on the constitutional duties that are afforded to the folks in Congress. And maybe that's why. Maybe they feel that he's overreaching and sort of stepping on their toes and getting in the way of them doing their actual jobs, which is legislating, which is not what he is interested in doing necessarily with something like a national emergency declaration. But you know, I guess we'll see as these folks who continue to speak out against the president rather, if they will follow that up by voting, not just symbolically, but voting consistently past this to sort of rebuke him and go against whatever he is doing that they say they disagree with. They have to have actions behind it, too.
And they have to win some of these fights. They're still not going to win. He's going to override their will and do what he wants. We're going to sneak in our last break. We'll be right back.